Now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
And good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the final session of the PAR PixelPoint training. This is session number 12 of 12 sessions. My name is Scott Dunlop. Unfortunately, Leslie will not be able to join us for today. She's tied up at a conference in Arizona right now, so it'll just be you and me as far as we're concerned. And once again, welcome. So, what are we going to cover within our last session today? Well, first of all, let me start off with a bit of a disclaimer that has just been brought to my attention recently with regards to Web2Go, okay, the web-based ordering system. I found out that in the very near future, it is actually going to be set as end of life. We're going to be discontinuing that as of version 12. So I just wanted to make you aware of that. Kind of blew away the whole session as a result of it. But on the good side of it, what we're doing is actually replacing that with an external order interface, which actually is available now, but we're going to be doing a lot more with this external order interface product. This actually came out, I think, in about maybe version 11.0. Maybe version 10, but I'm thinking version 11. And within there, if you check on the what's new for version 11, I believe, you will find information with regards to the external order interface. And what this allows you to do, basically PixelPoint will, when you activate this, and it's worked as an agent on the server, and PixelPoint will wait for an external order to be brought in from a third-party piece of software. That being said, one thing we're doing is opening up web-based ordering for third-party software. We've already got a couple of systems in the queue on that, and you'll probably find those coming up within the certified device list on the MyPAR website. The nice thing about this is also this external order interface will also work for things such as call center solutions as well. Coming back to the previous question that occurred a little while ago where I was explaining how to handle it in a chain of restaurants, for example, where they have a call center, that people call in, and then from there it's dispatched out to the appropriate store. Actually, the interface will work with much cleaner, actually, with that type of application. And also, a really big one here is for phone apps as well. So that as there are new phone applications being written and so on like that, we will actually in the future be able to look at the integration of phone applications into using the external order interface as well for that. It's just a matter of having some phone apps written, that's all. But that being said, that's the type of stuff we've got coming down the pipe within version 12 and beyond. There's going to be a lot more web-based stuff with that. Also, the data miner system will not be part of the conventional installation as of version 12. It will be a separate install for that. The reason being that a lot of places do not really wish to pursue with the whole data miner concept. It's just a little too heavy for what they want. And one of the things that we are going to be implementing much more of is the capability to do web-based reporting as well through WebView, which is a PAR PixelPoint product as well. So, as far as what we're going to do within the rest of this session for today, the first thing I want to do is actually I'm going to take all of this information that we've kind of processed throughout all of these different training sessions. Now, as you can see on my screen here, I've got three icons set up here: Dial-in, Quick Service, and Kiosk. And each one of these represents a different station that I programmed within my database, and each one of those stations is designed to function just a little bit differently and show you some really cool bells and whistles that I've kind of thrown into the system and wish to show you some of the functionality of what the POS can do beyond just the conventional programming that we've covered. And within this, what I'll do is I'll also jump into the back office as well, give you some insight in terms of how I went about programming all these different things. And then after that, we're going to take a look at the MyPAR website and see all of the different things that are available to you on there. If you are not a member of the MyPAR website, I encourage you to actually sign up and get on there. You can do it with or without certification. It's just a matter of how much you can see, that's all. And within there, I'll show you some of the resources that are available to you as well. Okay, and if we fill up the 2 hours, great. If we don't, no problem with that. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to log into the system. Now, coming down here, before I get into that, I've got my license manager, my SQL running, and I've also got authorization manager going as well. So in this, I'm going to select on Dine In. Now, this is the standard one for station number 1. Obviously, you can tell because this window shows up. It only shows up on station 1. And on this, I'll start up my system. And here I'm into my login screen, so I'm going to log in as supervisor. Okay, so here I am with my screen. Now, obviously, I'm blowing out of proportion here. I forgot to set my screen back to a 1024 by 768 display, but that's all right. Within here, I'm going to open a table, and I'll say it's table 2. There are 2 people at the table. Okay, so here I have my order screen. I've then made a few little changes to it. And really what I'm trying to emphasize here is not so much as far as the products and so on like that, but as you can see, I've got a lot more function buttons that I've added into the screen as well. And what I want to do is just give you some of the ideas of some of the things you can integrate into a dine-in type establishment, a table service establishment. So the first thing, I actually will take a look up at the top here first. I've got small and large. Now what these are is these are shift function buttons. Okay, so one of the things you can program for function buttons within the Form Designer is shift function buttons or shift product buttons. What these will do is these will actually toggle you to a different level in shifting you within the same product. So in older versions of PixelPoint, for example, if we had something, let's say like, here I'll go over to non-alcoholic. I got coffee here. So here I have a coffee button right now, and if I just ordered that coffee, then it would show me the price of the coffee. Actually, I'll do that right now. There's the coffee right there, $1.99. Now, in the older systems, what we had to do is that if you wanted a small, medium, or a large coffee, then you actually had to program those 3 individual buttons on there, which in itself would be okay, but when I've got things like coffee and tea and hot chocolate and sodas and milk and juice and blah, 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 all that kind of stuff, then that can be a little much, and you've got 15 or 20 buttons on the screen where you could have replaced it with just a couple of things like this. Now, for example, with that coffee, I chose it at $1.99. It's a small coffee. If I chose large and then coffee, same button, I have large coffee, $2.50. I can do the same, for example, with maybe beer, for example. So within here, I've got a Coors Light or maybe here a Corona. So I've got a Corona Extra right now. And if I chose Corona just by itself, Corona Extra, $4.99. If I chose small Corona, there's an 8-ounce Corona at $4. If I chose large Corona, there's a 12-ounce Corona at $7, for example. So this gives you an idea of some of the things you can do where just by adding in these couple extra buttons for maybe sizes or something like that, then you can actually shift behind the scenes and have multiple multiple products available on the same product button, so which is a really nifty little thing. All right, I'm just going to close this off here. Finish, cache. There we go. Back to this. Right. What we're looking at right now is the busing status. Okay, so one of the things that you'll find within policies is busing status, where if a table has been closed off, then it will change into this trash can, flashing trash can, to indicate that it needs to be cleaned up. When it is, then you select on this. Is the table cleared? Yes, and it's ready to go for the next group of people. All right, so I'll go back into this again. And now what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to use a bit of a hold and fire type application. And down below here, I've created some function buttons that kind of pertain to that. So the first thing I'm going to do here, actually without even referring to those yet, so what I'm going to do here is I've got my soups and salads, so I'm going to select on this, and I'll choose just a corn chowder. Now I have set up courses within product setup on this. You may recall that we've got a little field for courses in product setup, and on here I've flagged it as an appetizer, so it shows up with the prefix of that A. Now next I'll go over to, let's say, lunch specials, and I'll choose the chicken wrap. Okay, and this is set up as a main course, so M for main course. And then finally, I'll go over to desserts, and I'll choose a banana split. And that's set up with a D for desserts as well. Each one of those has their own respective one. Now, if I'm in a hold and fire type application, what you can program into the system here is this button called Fire Order. Now, if I select on this, I'm now presented with all of the courses that have been selected within this order. If I didn't do a dessert, for example, the dessert would not show up. Or if I skipped the corn chowder, went directly, I just wanted to have a chicken wrap and a banana split, then I would only have main course and dessert showing up on this. But you'll see within here, it's got all of my courses. Now at this point, if I wanted to just fire off my appetizers, I just have it highlighted here, and then I select OK. Now that is going to be sent off, and then I can leave the table and take a look here now. it now shows, first of all, that I've got hold and fire with those two little vertical lines showing. That's kind of like a pause type thing, and it's paused on a hold and fire application. And over on the left-hand side, it shows the A symbol, indicating that I'm currently on the appetizers. Now, if I go back into this, I can hit Fire Order again. So this is, okay, I've now got the appetizer served. It's now time to get the main courses going. So I select on Main Course. I select on OK. And Main Course is now highlighted. This shows up in white, meaning it's been sent. This is in yellow, meaning that it's about to be sent. And this is in red, indicating that it's on hold right now. And then I'll leave Table. And here I am now. I'm currently up to my main course on this. And then finally going back in and go to Fire Order. The last thing that's left is the dessert. I can select on that, and we'll fire that off as well. And so now all of those items have been sent out, and it's all done. And so from here, I'm going to go Finish and Cache. Okay, so there's all my stuff. Close and close. Okay, so that gives you an idea as far as what the Fire Order does. Now, I've got some other things here as well. Set course, for example. Now, in some of these, I have not set up or I have not designated them as an appetizer, or I can actually set them as something else just by using set course. So, for example, I've got my corn chowder. I'm going to select on that. And then next, let's say a Caesar salad. Now, a Caesar salad is not set up within here as an appetizer. So I can select on set course. And within here, I'm given all of my choices of courses, and I'll select on appetizer. And now it's flagged as an appetizer. Now in this as well, let's say, for example, I come over to my mushroom soup. Now mushroom soup right now is showing up as an appetizer as well. Maybe I don't want to have this particular item as my appetizer. I want to have it as a main course, which is quite common as well, especially when people are in diets and they want to order a salad, and the salad will be the main course for it. So if that is the case, you can select on that and then come down to set course again. And on this, I'll say it's going to be my main course. And so there, it's now changed over the course for that item. It's just overridden what is designated within the product setup on that. And if for any reason I want a garden salad as my dessert, then I'll select on that, set course, and dessert. Now, rather than select on that, take a look at this. I've also got a function button specifically assigned to that course, being dessert. So I select on that, and there you go. Okay, so this way, you can set up function buttons for all kinds of stuff. It's just a matter of whatever works best with the operation of the establishment, what things they're looking for, and so on. And you can save all kinds of steps when you're programming these things in. So set course, for example, is the generic one that will present you all of the courses. But there's also one as well for specific courses that you can program in here. And in this case, I did one for dessert to show you that you can designate a specific course when you're selecting on an item as well. All right. The next thing I've got over here is close cache. Okay, so this is basically a quick close button, for cache. It's really good, like Burger Cache, for example. And so on here, I'll take whatever I've got, and here my final total is $15.95. And from this, I'll select on close cache. And here, what it's done now, it's just settled my whole check right all in one quick swoop. And here I've got my receipt printed out. It's closed the table. And it's assuming exact cache in that case, or assuming exact change. Okay. You can also have, for example, the quick close buttons, which I'll show you later on as well, where you can have, maybe they gave me a 20, maybe they gave me a 50, and you can also do any form of payment that the system will accept as well. So I could have had a button there for Visa, one for MasterCard, and so like that, as individual function buttons. You don't have to go to the finish screen, or you don't have to have that window with all the methods of payment. You can have the individual methods of payment showing up in there as well. Also within here, I've got Apply Member Payment. Now this is basically a real big shortcut here, where you go into, for example, on a blank check, I go into Finish, I go into gift card, and from here it'll just carry you on from here. Or no, what you want to do is you want to make a payment to it, and then you would pay on account. And then from there it can be applied across. Sorry about that. But in this case, what this will do is just do all that in one button stroke. So you just select on this, and then from here, Apply Member Payment. Boom, there you go. And from here, I can select on whoever my member is going to be. Okay, I'll do a last name, fine, last name, fine. Here's all your members. I don't think I've got anyone who really owes money right now. Well, I was going to say me, for example. Yeah, I've got $500 credit, but I don't have anything due. But let's say I did. Then within here, I'll go into Use Member, So you got Mr. Scott Dunlop, and then whatever here I'm going to do in terms of making my payment. Let's say I'll pay $25 and select the method of payment that I'm applying, maybe a credit card or a cash or something like that. And this whole process will go through and apply a member payment on this transaction. And I can do this either on a blank check, or I can also do it within stuff that I've ordered as well. So I may be the member on this check, and also at this time I also want to pay off what I owe to the establishment. I can do that within my order as well. Also, take a look at this. I've got here a 10% off button. Okay, so this is basically a coupon that's been applied as its own separate button on the order screen. So in here, for example, I'm going to order a couple of things, and then I am entitled to 10% off, so I'm going to select 10% off, and there's that 10% discount applied to my check right there. Coming over next, I have this button here that says Delivery. Okay, so take a look here. It's currently Dine In. If I select on this, I'm presented with all of my sale types, and I can choose on that. Or I can just have a specific button here, Delivery. Okay, select on that. It toggles it over to Delivery, and you're ready to go with that. Now from here, if I try to finish it, member must be assigned to a delivery. Okay, so this is something I set up within sale type setup, that it requires that a member be assigned to it because it needs a name and an address and a phone number in order to make it a delivery. So in here, last name, I'll use me again. There we go, and cash. And so that's what you can do with that. Also, take a look at this next one down here. I've got banana split. Okay, so within a banana split, this is basically a product that I've set up as my own separate function button. And on this, you select on it, boom, there it is. So it doesn't matter what you've got up on the screen up here in terms of products and so on like that. If there's some common product that you want to have applied to a check or many checks on an ongoing basis, then you can just create it as its own function button and apply it on the screen as well. I also have one I've created in here called PLU Lookup, Price Lookup. Now you may recall within Product Setup, if you go over to the Advanced tab, there's the PLU reference field. And so in here, if you have any items that can be retrieved with a number, then you can actually just put them within here, 1, 2, 3. And there is a bottle of wine, for example, or a glass of wine, I guess, at that price. And I can do 4, 5, 6 maybe, and come up with another item as well. So this allows you to order items without actually referring to any buttons on the screen. So this way, if you've got, for example, a very extensive wine list or a very extensive Chinese food menu or something like that, and they're all indicated with numbers and so on, then actually what you can do is just have a PLU lookup number on here, and it'll just bring up the keypad. You punch in what you want. Also, if I want to sell a gift card, I don't have to go to finish. I can do it right from here. I can just select on this, and it jumps me right to this whole process. I go to this, and I'm brought into the wizard for selling a gift card as well. So that's a nice, dandy little thing as well. And finally, what I've got, at least within this order screen here, I've created one called Help. Now, there is no Help function button. What this is actually just a regular function button with it's not assigned to anything. But in it, what I've done is I've attached this to a rollout panel, and the rollout panel I've set with a 0 size when it's rolled up. And so when you select on this, it will actually roll it out and present you with whatever information you want to put in here. So for example, just as an example of what you can do, is I've created a personalized help window for this particular screen. And this is my own help. This is not like the system help within PixelPoint. So I just created this text. I could throw in pictures and all kinds of stuff like that as well. I can put in hyperlinks to different external things and so on. And then when I've got all that in there, then you put it into a roll panel. You zip it all up to the smallest size. And then you can link it to a function button. And that function button will then activate and deactivate that particular rollout panel. So little, great little things like this that you can do with the system. And again, I'll give you an idea in terms of how I did some of this stuff later on in this session. All right, so that's kind of a quick idea in terms of some of the things. Of course, your imagination you can take it as far as you want, but this gives you an idea of some of the bells and whistles that you can throw into your POS system when you're programming for dining. Okay, so I'm just going to exit out now. And the next one we're going to take a look at is quick service. And in here, I'm going to sign in as someone who's set up for quick service. Okay, so here I am in a screen again. Now, I should point out there are many other things that you can do within the POS beyond what I'm showing you here. There's lots of things I haven't shown you because it just took it would take too much time for me to actually do all that stuff. But in here, just as an example, I've got a quick service screen here. This is a bar. And in this, I've got a few function buttons that I've actually programmed in here as well. So the first thing I've got here is things like glass, pint, and pitcher. Okay, this refers back to those shift product buttons. Okay, so coming back to, let's say, Coors Light or Corona. I like Corona. So we'll go Corona. So if I do, for example, glass of Corona, there's my 8-ounce Corona, pint of Corona, and pitcher of Corona. Okay, so as you can see, it's just by using those two buttons, then I'm able to order 3 different items, being the small, medium, and the large of that particular item. Just to the right of that, I've also got these quick close buttons as well. Okay, so these are individual methods of payment. This is assuming cash, and these are the quick close buttons. You know, when you go into the finish screen, here I'll go into finish screen for a moment, and you've got these buttons right here. These are all quick close buttons, and you can program anything that's on here within the order screen. And what I've done here is I've taken, for example, the 20 and the 10, and I put it onto the actual screen here. And so this way, you know, I've got, well, okay, I got 24, you know, I'll just go cash on this or something. Here. You know, I'm assigned to another door. Let's try that again though. I'll do a pint of Corona. Okay, $7, and I'm going to give you a $10 bill. So I'll just select on the $10 like that. And of course, it doesn't work because this is what happens when Scott doesn't test what he's doing before he does it. But actually, it should close off. How about the 20? Nope, the 10 and the 20 don't work, but they look really good anyway. Okay, but what it will do is it will close it off to cash if you have someone with a little more intelligence than myself programming the system. So sorry about that, folks. All right, egg on my face on that. But let's carry on anyway. You understand what I'm talking about. And I'll show you when I actually fix these up later on. I'll show you how to program them in. The next thing we got here is this button here. It says 6. 6 is kind of a stupid thing to have in there. I got a 6 button. But actually, this 6 represents a quantity of 6. So for example, if you're doing like a donut shop, for example, you know, I got a half dozen, I got a dozen. So you got 6 and 12 button. And so what you can do is just select on this, 6, and I can do Miller Lite. And there I've just ordered 6 Miller Lites right there, just with 2 keystrokes. So what you can have within here, there's a function button called preset quantity. And what you do is you just select on that type of function, and then within the descriptor of this button, you just indicate with the number what number you want. And in this case, I put in a 6, so there you go with a 6. Coming down below, we have all these function buttons, some other really nifty ones here. The first one here is label credit card name. Okay, so if you have the customer's credit card number, for example, you can actually label the check with their name. So what this will do is this will actually look off, I think, track 2, which contains the owner's name, and it will provide that on the check. So actually, I don't think, well, I don't have a credit card number here. So I can't swipe it. But what this will do then, it'll actually bring this up. You swipe the card through, and then from there, if it's my credit card, then it will show up with my name labeled on the check. That's the only information it pulls across, by the way. It's strictly just for labeling the check, but it's a quick and easy way of actually properly labeling your things. So when you're working with a large number of different customers and checks and credit cards and stuff like that, that's a good thing to throw in there as well. So in here, I've got my Corona and my Miller Lites, and I might want to save to a tab. Okay, so I'll select on this, save to tab. Now on this, you do need some form of name. Again, if there's maybe, it will refer you to the member database because it will want that information in there. If they already are in there, then great. If you want to create a new one, you could do that or whatever the case. What I'm going to do here is I'll just, again, do last name. Fine, we'll put it to good old Scott. Okay, so there's Scott. We'll use that. Transaction has been saved to the tab of Mr. Scott Dunlop, and that's me. And here I'm onto a blank check, and now I can go with, you know, beer cash, beer cash, beer cash. And of course, my cash buttons don't work, so that gives you an idea of what you can do. Now, let's say later on, when I come back and I may want to order more things and put them on my tab, or I may want to cash it out, then I also have a button here that says Get From Tab. You select on this, and once again, I can bring up last name, fine, there's me, and there's me. Now, there are quicker ways to get through it than what I'm showing you here as well. I just haven't taken the time to actually set all these up. But also, one of the things you can do is have, for example, anytime you refer to the member lookup screen, you can actually default to one of those lookup types. For example, last name, find, phone number, card swipe, anything like that. And you can save them that way. Another thing you can do is actually, one of the things we offer is the ability to work with tab cards. What's a tab card? A tab card is similar to like an employee swipe card or a member card. And actually, we might even offer them with our swipe card pack. I'm not too sure. But what a tab card does, basically, it will allow you to take a transaction, swipe it to this particular card, which is basically like a preset member card. And then when you want to retrieve it, they just give you their tab card, and you say get from tab, you swipe that through, and there's the order up right on the screen right there. And this way, they can go around through the establishment, and if you've got multiple bars or multiple food stations, kiosks, whatever it happens to be, and people can use their tab cards for this. I've also seen this used in places where it was kind of like an open market, where they had like a food grill and a seafood stand and a salad bar and a stuff like this, all these different types of things. And you would just get your card, they'd assign it to you, and then you can just walk each one of those, order your thing, they swipe it through, and the food is, or whatever it is you're ordering, is applied to your tab. And then when you're done at the end of the meal, then on your way out, they swipe it through the cashier, and you pay for it that way. So lots of little things you can use tabs for beyond just walking into a bar and ordering some drinks on an ongoing basis. But that being said, anyway, within here, get from tab, I got Scott Dunlop showing up on the screen. There's my order, and then from there I can cash it out. Okay. We also have no sale as well. One of the functions that people frequently ask for is, okay, I'm in a bar and a guy wants 2 5s for a 10 or something like that. Can I do something like that? And yes, you can actually. There's a function button that we allow you to program in as well called no sale. Yes, I'm assigned to another cash drawer. I haven't set that up properly. I just have to go back and fix up that within employee setup. But in here, by doing that, what it will do is actually just do a $0 sale and pop open the cash drawer if you wish to apply that in there as well. The next thing I have here is how to make. Okay, so within here, let's go down to, where am I going here? Cocktails. Okay, I've got an after 8. Okay, so here's an after 8 cocktail. I'm Scott the bartender. I have no idea how to make this stupid thing, so I go down to how to make. And within here, it shows me what the drink should look like by the time I'm done with it and what kind of stuff should go into it. And so I can just select on that, and hopefully the thing works. If you do not have how to make information in here, it'll come up to say no product information is available. So make sure that you do have something like that programmed in there if you are going to use something like this. And that's all available within Product Setup, I think, on the Advanced tab, and it's called How to Make. And then you select on that and put in your information for that. Okay, the next one is reorder. So I've ordered some drinks. Here, I'll send them off. Oh, order must be closed first. Okay, I'm in. Yeah, okay, so here, I'll just save check. Okay. And then we'll just get check. All right, so I bring up this this check again, and then from here I want to order another round. So I select on reorder. There's all of my drinks. Now in this case, the person who ordered the after 8, they just want a coffee after this, but the person who wanted an Angel Kiss wants another one. So I select on this. So you just select on the items that you want to reorder. Select on reorder, and there's another one set in the queue there. Okay, and the next thing, PLU lookup. Oh, I did that already for those wines. You know, that gives you an idea what you can do. I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3. And there's the wine that shows up within there. But that's also really good as well for bars and so like that, especially when you got a big wine list. And finally, here's a really nifty one here. It says dining room. What the heck does this mean? This is actually a menu button. This is a function button that is a menu button. And when you select on this, it actually toggles you over to another menu, and you can define as far as what menu it will toggle you over to. And so within here, for example, if I'm at the bar, then I can order a couple of things, and then, oh, I'd really like a Caesar salad with that. So you go over to dining room, soups and salads, there's a Caesar salad, and then you come back to the bar and order more things again. Can you still label a saved check? The answer is yes. Okay. So within here, there's actually a label function as well. All right, here's just a generic one, for example. Okay, I've done nothing with any of these fancy buttons and so on like that. and I want to save the check. Well, yeah, I'll save the check. Okay, updating, there's the save check, okay. And I'll retrieve the check so it's back up on the screen. Can I label it? Yes. I'll just go into functions, label. You know, a lot of these are just shortcuts for this anyway. Okay, and there's a label applied to it. I'll save the check again. Now the interesting thing is when you go about saving it like this, take a look down at the bottom. My label now shows up at the bottom here as well. And if you're in a table service environment where you flip over to transaction view, rather than show you the transaction number, it will actually show you the label for that as well. So that's kind of a nifty little thing. All right, so that gives you a brief idea in terms of some of the things that you can do within quick service. There is some other stuff as well. Actually, one recent one, I should have got around to programming it, but it is explained actually within the what's new for version 11.2, I think, or 11.1. Maybe even 11, I don't know. But it's one of these things where we've now got a secondary window, and this is really good for like, it's kind of like a queuing window for a quick service where you can have, for example, it kind of serves the function of like a, what do you call it, kitchen display system, kind of like that, where I may have a number of different drive-through orders that are showing up, and you can actually have a separate window for that, and you can toggle back and forth between one order and the next, do it directly on the order screen, rather than have to refer to a kitchen display system for that. So some great little things like that is available as well. I just didn't have time to get around and do anything like that. All right, oh, and there's one more thing I put in here I forgot to mention as well. Take a look at this. This is actually set up through policies. One of the things you can do, is, and it's really clever for table service, or for quick service, is that if you don't want to resort back to the table layout screen, you want to make it unavailable, then you can actually turn that off, in which case then if you select on System, it will present this window, and within this window you've got your settings, billboard, and manager. These are all the functions that you will require without having to resort back to that table layout screen. And then from here, I can now jump out of the system, or I can go to my settings. There's all my stuff there. Billboard. Billboard's really useful because even in quick service, because if nothing else, you've got this billboard message up above, and you may actually need that. And then also within here as well, manager, in this case, I'll just exit record out. So that gives you an idea of some of the things you can do within a quick service mode as well. Can you use the label credit card name to label the check? Hang on here. Okay. Can you use the label credit card name to label the check instead of going to member? Yes, actually there's a lot of stuff you can do with that. It's just I don't have an opportunity to really go in and get too deep within this. But with regards to, excuse me, credit card labeling and so on, actually there is full functionality. If you, I think within the MyPower website, we've got some documentation in there, or it's being implemented into the manuals. I'm not too sure yet. With regards to a lot more extensive capability in terms of labeling a check with a credit card. And so basically, at any time, if you've got a credit card up on the screen, actually, yes, it's within Form Designer. There's a field in there that allows for labeling by credit card. So even if you just got the order up on the screen, if you swipe their credit card through, it will automatically label that check to that credit card name, and just by being on the proper form for that. Okay, kind of hold off on the questions if you don't mind, folks, until I get to the end of this, which is just keeps me in flow with what I'm doing here. Now, this last one that we're looking at here is a kiosk application. And so within this, I've got this whole kiosk thing. This is actually the default kiosk application that comes up within Form Designer. And what I've done is I've set up one of the stations as a kiosk. And so it comes up with this pretty little morphing, whatever it is, this is actually a flash presentation that's coming up in here. Now, one of the things that we programmed into this, which would not be in your normal kiosk application, is this little box down here. Exit kiosk to remove this button in a production kiosk. Okay, so you don't want them to have the ability to jump out of it. But what you can do within here is you have it all set up like this. It just looks really nice and pretty, and when they're ready to order something, they just touch the screen to begin. Now within here, I've got I really didn't go into too much depth on this, but you'll see, for example, I've got things like appetizers, seafood, and pasta dishes, and so on like this. And so what we're looking at here are the order pages on this. This is actually a screen called Menu within Form Designer under the kiosk. And in here, it'll present you with all of the different order pages that you want to select from. And then from here, you can, also, if you take the time to properly set up your graphics as well, these graphics would properly, fit within this as well. I just, again, didn't have time to do it. But on this, I've got my appetizers. I select on this. And from here, I can choose on whatever items that apply within that order page. So within here, for example, this is my product grid now that I've got for appetizers. And so I can choose, on different things like that. And you may hear in the background as well, that's my voice actually showing up within here. When we did create this sample one, then I just did a few recordings for it as well to kind of help guide you through this. And of course, you can replace it with your own audio as well. But this is using the wave function so that when a form comes up, it presents that wave function. Some of the other things we've got within here as well, touch item to modify. Okay, so within here we've actually set this up as well so that by selecting on an item, it actually navigates you to a modification screen. So that, for example, I select on it, now modify the pizza to, if there were anything to modify or substitute, I could do that if it were set up for that, and also remove the item from your order if I change my mind on that. Otherwise, go back to the previous screen, cancel the order entirely. These are all navigation buttons and main menu as well. And then from there, I can choose something else. Okay, and so I've got all this information showing up. Down here is my total for all of this. And now from here, take a look at this. The Pay Now button is actually moving around. It looks kind of cool and so on. This is actually a flash presentation. So the flash presentation doesn't have to be anything spectacular. It can be something as simple as a button toggling back and forth like that. And what you can do is select on it. And it navigates me to another screen, which is the payment screen. Now, what I'm showing you here not only is basically, a cute little kiosk that's kind of generic and so on, but it's also important to note that when you go in and if you are going to create a kiosk application, make sure you stick with these screens. You can customize them to look any way you want, but use these screens. The reason being is that if you follow with all the screens that we provided you here, you've got an entirely encapsulated POS ordering system. What I mean by that is that the customer will have all of the screens that they require for anything to order anything, and it will be contained, so they won't be exiting out of that by accident, or they won't be getting into things, some screens that you may have designed that the system is not really prepared for or anything like that. So it will present the basic ordering screen with your order pages, then it will present the corresponding order pages or product pages with all of the menu items. If there's anything to modify, anything to cancel, anything to pay, anything of that nature, you've got all the appropriate screens for that. We'll take a look at that shortly as well. So within here, I've got my credit auth working as well, the little spinning dollar coin. And so within here, I'm just going to choose, let's say, Visa, for example. And now swipe the card from here. I'll just, because I've got this set up for approve all, I'll just go in here and I'll put in a number and I'll put in a date. And also I think I set this up for delivery as well, so it might indicate, yeah. Is order being, pickup, that's what I set it for. Is order being picked up now? I'll say yes. And then there's a little wait screen as it does this. Now, you wouldn't necessarily set it up for the conventional pickup. You would have it sent off, so it would go to a counter, for example, and from there the cashier would take the payment or whatever it is, or maybe the kiosk will take the payment for it. And then underneath that, we've got your order number is number 68, and then timed out. I didn't touch anything here, and it timed out and took me back to the main screen. And from here, I can go through and walk through with another order as well. And so that gives you just some kind of idea of the different types of things that you can utilize based on what we've learned within the past 11 sessions to kind of enhance in terms of when you're creating a POS system, some of the really nifty things we can do within here. Actually, one other thing I wanted to show you as well, I forgot to do that, because this is an important one. Okay, in here, I've got my stuff up on the screen, and what I'm going to order here is maybe a lunch special. And on this lunch special, I'm going to order a banquet burger and large fries. Now take a look at what's just happened up here. I have an auto combo recognition grid that just popped up. So what I did was I ordered a burger and fries, and from this, the system says, well, for an extra $2.01, please excuse my prices, I just made them up as I went, I can upgrade to a big burger combo. Or for another $1.01, I can add on a milk and make it a banquet burger combo. So within here, I'll just make it the big burger combo. And what it does, it replaces all of what I've ordered with a burger combo. Now let's say, for example, if I just ordered fries and I come over to non-alcoholic and I'll just choose a soda. Then here it's done a auto combo recognition again. In this case, it was a classic burrito combo. And so I can basically upgrade this to I can add on a classic burrito and make it a burrito combo for an additional 96 cents. And there we go. So one of the things you can do within the system as well is have auto combo recognition. Okay, so just giving you a little idea of what you could do with that. I wanted to show you that and I forgot all about it. Okay, and from here we'll just close cache. Okay, so let's go into back office and take a look at some of this stuff. Okay, so while we're on the topic of combo recognition, let's just see what we did within that. So the first thing I did here, I'm going to actually go into menu setup, and we'll go into the default menu here. Okay, and this was on the lunch specials. So in here, for example, I have got, let's say, big burger combo. I'm going to take a look at that. Okay, so here's my big burger combo. All right, the price is $6.99. And within here, I've got my tab over on the right-hand side that says combo items. You select on this. I've got my banquet burger and my large fries, and I've indicated here required item. Okay, so those items, basically, if you got those two items on the check, then the system will recognize that, hey, you can upgrade this to a big burger combo for another $2. Please excuse the pricing again. But in this, you've got, for example, it's all zero-priced items for these individual items. So there's the a la carte items. If I was to order them individually, it would be $6.99 if I ordered it as the combo. And also, coming over here to my combos as well, I've identified within here that these are required items. Now remember the other one I did where I had the burrito one, and it was using two other items. So here is my classic burrito, and here's my burrito combo. And so I'm just going to take a look at this one. And again, coming over to the combo items, classic burrito, large fries, large soda. In this case, I indicated here if you order large fries and large soda, the system will recognize, hey, you can upgrade to a classic burrito for an additional whatever. And if need be, you know what, you can select all three of these. So that way, if one or two of those items actually are on the thing, then the system will actually recognize, okay, you got this on there, so would you like to go to a classic burrito combo, for example? So, you know, you could have the burrito and the soda, and you can add on fries to make it a combo for an additional whatever it's going to be. Okay. As far as the additional pricing goes, what it does, it takes whatever the a la carte items are and bumps that up to whatever the price would be for the combo item. So that's how it comes up with the difference between the two. When it says, would you like to make it a combo for an additional 50 cents or 80 cents or whatever it happens to be, it's basically the system doing the math saying, here's the difference between what you've ordered and what it would be here if you went with the combo. All right, so that's how that works. Here, let's close that off. All right, let's go over to Form Designer. And within here, let's take a look at some of the screens I was working with. First of all, we'll stick to this dining one for a moment here. Okay, so here I've got, for example, my small and my large. All right, and if I was to just take a look at these things, the small right now, all right, let's come down to, always come down to functions. Okay, and in here I've got the function type is shift key. Okay, see, these are all the different types of things you can program into the system, and this particular one was a shift key, and then from there I identified which particular shift level it was. Okay, and so setting up my shift levels, then the level 1 was small, level 2 was a medium, level 3 was a large or something like that, and so I've corresponded those with each of these. So when you select on this button, it will and then you choose a product or menu item, then what it will do is it will take whatever is programmed within shift level 1 for that. All right, coming down below that. Okay, so I've got all of these different function buttons I programmed in as well. So the first one here is set course. Okay, take a look over at functions. It's an order function. I've got set course. So within here, just by selecting on that, when you choose that, that will identify what course do you want to identify for any given item. I also did one here of dessert. So once again, it's by course, but on here, or no, this one is chosen by course as opposed to order. And then on here, I chose the pre-specified course for that. Fire order for Holden Fire. Okay, so this is an order product. Okay, so order is the type. And then within here, I've got fire order. Okay, so as you can see, there's lots of things you can program in under order, different functionality and so on like that. That's why there's just so many things in here. You know, you can spend hours just playing around with all these different ones. But on this particular one, I chose fire order, and you saw what all that did as well. The next one here is close cache, also under order as well, and this one was to basically close it to cache, assuming exact change. Apply member payment, okay, apply member payment. So you see, it's really not that difficult to come up with all these really nifty little function buttons. It's just a matter of picking and choosing between function type and function name. And so that's what all those do. This one here is the function type is actually coupon, and then you just choose from your list of coupons. Delivery is from sale type, and then you choose your desired type of sale. This one is from product, and then from here you choose on the desired menu item. PLU lookup, once again from order. Sell a gift card. Now this one's from special. Okay, so within here we've got all of these different things, special function buttons and so on like that for a variety of different things. Now this one here, help, was it's a little bit more trickier, because within help, if you take a look at, where am I here at my functions? The function type I've got here is normal, which is the default one, meaning there's no special function for this. And function name, I've chosen nothing for it. So it's just a generic non-functional function button. However, what I then did was I skipped down to the bottom, and I linked it to a role panel that I created. Okay, so within here, you'll see Pixel Role Panel. Let me just kind of bring this over a bit. Pixel Role Panel. And in here I've got one role panel that I created on this thing, and that was the one with the help screen. Now take a look. As I assign it to that, then I now have this little plus sign, and by selecting on this I can actually program all of the programming for that function button. But it also, all of this also resides within the programming of that individual function button. Now if I wanted to just bring up the individual function button, being the role panel, then I can also come up to the very top here, and this gives me a list of all of the different components that I programmed into this form. And from here I can come down to Pixel Role Panel number 1, and there it is right there. And then from this, you'll see I've got all of this, and if I want to actually bring it up on the screen, I can either roll it right from here, I can change it from true to false, or also I can right-click on this button and roll it. Does the same thing as well. And so this is now the rolled out panel. As you can see within here, I can now size it up and put inside of whatever I want and so like that. But on this roll panel, let's actually jump over to this particular one. Let's see if I can, there we go. So here I am on the programming of that individual roll panel right now. And in this, I have actually put into it an image. Okay, so I just did a picture image. What I did was I created this text, and you can throw in graphics and stuff like that. This is just a quick and easy way to do it. And then from there, I did a screen capture of it as an image, and I loaded an image, popped it in there, boom, there you go. But take a look at this. Coming down below here, I have several different things here. Role type, I set to drop out both, either drop both or roll both, either one. So this way, whatever it's set to, it will roll out both within the width and the depth of it. And also within this as well, the roll up height and the roll up width are set to 0. So basically, when this thing is rolled up, it disappears from the screen. And the only way to activate it is by selecting its corresponding function, separate function button that you put aside here. So what I could do, I mean, I could just touch on this and it will roll it in and out. But if it's set to a 0 size, there's nothing to touch. So in which case then you link it to another function button. Now one little word of caution here. When you are working with these two things and you do link them up like this, one thing you want to do is make sure you have auto roll-up set to true on both of these, both the roll-up panel and on the button as well. Make sure they're both set to auto roll-up. You do that and everything will just work just fine. So it's really a nifty thing. But that being said, you can use this function, like for example, with handheld devices. So if I'm working with a handheld device and I've got limited space, then what you do is you create a whole bunch of these little buttons here, and you link them to a whole bunch of roll-up panels, and each one of these roll-up panels will provide different things in here. You can have, for example, generic text or an image like what I put within here, but I can also put in, for example, the order product grid, for example, or the modifier grid, or anything like that. Anything that shows up on the system can be put inside a roll-up panel. So it's a really nifty thing that way. All right, let's just close this one up. Save changes. No, let's go back to this one. Oh, actually, no, this is good. And from here, we'll go into the bar order screen. Okay, so here I am in the bar order screen. And once again, I have my shift buttons that I programmed in here as well, individual shift product buttons. Also, I had within here that preset quantity, so basically order, preset quantity, and then within here, just change the caption to the desired number that you want for it as well. Now, these silly buttons that didn't work for me, I really didn't set them up too well here. But within this, it's a preset payment, okay? And then within here, the function name, which preset button is it? So it was $10, for example, and then from there, they should have worked, but I got mucking around with some other things. Coming down below, we've got all of these other function buttons as well. So within this, once again, referring to order, all right, label your credit card, order, save to tab, get from tab, no sale, how to make, reorder. See, a lot of them are under the order tab, so that's a good one, the order function. So that's a really good one to look at as well, and also PLU lookup. And then within here, I've also got this function here called menu. And within menu, if you select on this, then you can identify which particular menu you want to toggle over to. And when you do that, then this button will remain on the screen, but it will then revert to the one that you came from. So when I flipped over to dining room, then it gave me the dining menu screen, and then when this button then changed to bar menu, and I select on that to toggle back to the original bar menu as well. So lots of little nifty things like that are in there. One thing, I should have shown you in the previous one. Right here. This is the combo grid, which is this thing right here, combo menu grid. And so that's what this thing is right here. This will contain all of those upscale combo things, so that when you do have auto combo recognition, you will actually need some form of grid on the screen, or some room for a grid at least, to be able to have some items show up within there. And then from there you can choose on the desired combo that you may want to upgrade to. All right. And one other thing I want to take a look at within here is kiosk forms. Now within here, you'll see over on the right-hand side, as I told you here, everything you need for a kiosk application is designed within here. And all of these screens and all these forms are actually numerically set up as well to make sure that you always start out with the welcome one. You'll notice that the reference number for that is smaller than all these other ones. So what the system will automatically do is look to the smallest number. That will be the first reference screen that it will refer to when it automatically starts up as a kiosk, which is the welcome one. And when you select on that, what do you get? Well, let's just open that up. And there's that great big form right there. And of course, what you're looking at right now is a flash player screen. All right, so this takes up the entire size of the screen. And so within it, it's basically just a flash. Okay, so the action, and it's also new order as well. So I've actually assigned functions to this flash. This is something you can do on this as well. So a flash presentation, but it serves a function to actually create a new order. And then in doing that, it will actually navigate you. Take a look at this, navigate to the menu screen. Okay, and also within here as well, you can add in WAV files as well. Now what I'm going to do here is just close this one up, and I'll open up the next one, which is menu, so that it navigates you to menu. And so here we are on the menu screen now. And within this, I've got, for example, set up with a WAV list as well. So on there you can put in as far as please select your order to order from or something like that. And I've got all my different components that reside within here as well. So there's a lot more within this menu screen than what there was on that main welcome screen, for example. And then from there, anything you select from here, it will navigate you. All right, take a look at the navigate. It will navigate you to some other screen. So if I modify something, select. If I select on this, select modify item. Okay, which is it will navigate you to another screen for that. If I select on this, then you come down to navigate to the products screen. Okay, so everything is pre-created and self-contained. It's just a matter of customizing this to look and function the way you want it to as well. And within any one of these, is just select on the lightning bolt to take a look at how it's going to look. And of course, in a proper one, if I took the time to do it correctly, then I'd have like a picture of a beer, picture of cocktails, picture of shots, and so on like that. All right, so that gives you kind of, without getting too deep into it, some idea in terms of some of the things you can do within this. All right, what I'm going to do here, how are we for time? We're just coming up on the break time. You know what? For all we've got left, here's what we're going to do. We're going to skip on the break today because we're not going to go for the entire 2 hours. But what I would like to do is just show you the last bit within here, and that is actually referring you to the MyPower website. We'll take a look at that and see what's in there. And then from there, I'm going to open up the questions, and we'll see where we go from there. All right, so on this, I'm going to go into my internet, and from here, I'm going to select on MyPower. Okay. Now, what is the web address for this? This is something for you to kind of write down if you don't have it. It is actually www for you guys, mypixel.webx1.com. Okay. If you go to that, it will bring you to this screen. Now, what this is MyPower Partner Portal, and what this is basically anything that you need to get in terms of documentation, training material, price levels, depending on who you are, and so on, and product information, and just lots of help and so on like that, is all available through here. Now, on this, I have my own in here, and I'm going to log in. Now, your screen can be designed any way you want, and bear in mind, I've got a lot of additional access that you may not have within yours as well, but this gives you some idea of what you can do, and you can customize how your home screen looks as well. Now, in this, I have things, for example, like announcements that I put in here, calendar, and also what's new. Okay, so anytime I or anyone else adds anything into the system, then you will see all of these entries automatically added in here so you can see what's going on in the system. And as you can see, for example, I've been posting all of our sessions in here as well, so if you ever needed to go to any of those, then all I have to do, just take a look over here. If I wanted to download, for example, session 9, and just select on this, it will skip you directly to that screen. It'll give you whatever information you need on it. Hopefully I've got something intelligent to say in here. And then from this, for example, on this particular one, I've got click this to view. So you can click on this, and it will download that WMV to your local machine, or you can actually right-click on it and save target as, and then save it to your hard drive if you wish, and look at it at your convenience that way. Just coming back to home again. Okay, as far as announcements go and so on, if there were any further things coming up in terms of training, trade shows, anything of that nature, you'll find that information in announcements, and also within calendar as well. All that kind of new stuff will be showing up within there. Also within this, over on the left-hand side, we've got all these different things that are available. The next one here is shortcuts. So within this, if you need shortcuts to any one of the functions other than using these, then you can actually use these within here as well. My favorites, if there are any favorites that you like to say within the system, then you can just refer to them within the My Favorites section as well. Tools. This is where you can go about doing things in terms of customizing and so on like that within your own thing. And online help, how to do stuff within here. All right, some of these you may not actually have or have access to within yours. Just bear in mind, I'm Scott, the trainer guy, so I got access to a couple other things. All right, the next thing down here is documents. By selecting on documents, you are presented with a document screen that will allow you to go down to any particular resource you have. Of course, you will not have all the stuff that I've got within here. If you're very new to the system, you'll have just maybe one or two of these folders available to you. If you are certified in PixelPoint, you'll have a few more that are available as well. If you are sales related, then you can have, for example, like Pricing USA, Pricing Canada, which will come up with information for salespeople pertaining to product pricing. Also down below, technical resources pertaining to things such as digital menu boards, head office, member share, the POS, and so on like that. And within any one of these, if you select on it, then it may come up with a whole series of submenus within here as well, version 11, data miner 5, language database tables, and so on like that. So lots of different things that are available within here. Also individual entries as well, and so on any one of these, if I needed to get something, let's for example, wiring electrical requirements, I can select on this and I'll have a document, a PDF that's available for that to kind of give me some idea in terms of what I can do within that. What I recommend is actually going to Documents and this one here, Education. This one will be made available to everyone. And then within here, some of this information may be available to you. Some of these subfolders may not, depending on your level of certification for it. And in here, I have all kinds of different things, one of which is, for example, multimedia, and then web-based training. And within here, this is where I locate all of those different webinars that we've been walking through, for example. And they should be made available to every one of you at your convenience as well. So that's always something you can refer to. The next thing I have here is Certified Device List. Within Certified Device List, this gives you a listing of all of the different systems and hardware and software that we've actually worked with and have certified as being PixelPoint compliant and so on like that. Within here, it only shows one item right now, but the reason being is this is just the generic title for this. Within this, if you select on the drop down here, we've got all of these different categories to choose from. So for example, if you're doing something pertaining to, I need to interface to a liquor dispensing system. We come down to Liquor Systems, select on that, and it will present me with the list of all of the different liquor dispensing systems that we worked with and have tested off and so on like that. And so, for example, if there was maybe like a Berg system, okay, so here is Berg. We have two of their systems that we've gone through. And over here, we've got the PDFs that actually explain, here's how you interface with this Berg system. And if there's any special drivers or anything like that that might be required for it, you also have a zip file containing all of the necessary files to help you with interfacing to that Berg system. And of course, there's lots of different things in here. EFT is electronic funds transfer, so we have all these different ones as well for credit authorization and stuff like that. All right, the next thing we have down here is customer references. Salespeople, this will be really helpful to you. So within here, we've got things such as the company name, title, and email address of whatever the company happens to be. And these are ones that we've come across. I'm sure, you know, if you were to extend this out to all of the dealers, which we really encourage you to do, then you might be able to offer some additional ones in here as well. So we have, for example, we have Burger Boys Limited, okay, and this is Norman, the founder of Burger Boys. This is his email address. This is his phone number. Number of sites with PixelPoint is 50. PixelPoint POS and back office, and also head office enterprise software as well. If he had anything pertaining to Pocket POS, being the handheld devices, web-to-go, online ordering, and so on, then you would notice some additional information like this. So this is where we've got all these different references. And by all means, we encourage you as the resellers as well, if you have any really good resources you'd like to throw on here, then please do that. Just forward this information with, of course, your customer's approval to your regional account manager for Power PixelPoint. And from there, just indicate this is the information and feel free to put them on. They've agreed to put it on the MyPower website. That would be really nifty if you could. The next one down is software options. And so in software options, you'll see within here we've got all of these different things. Now these are basically all things that are policies. And some of the newer ones and some of them not so new as well are in here. This gives you an idea of a lot of different ones that are in here. But of course, we haven't even been able to keep up with this particular list right now because our policies has grown considerably since then. So, but we've got lots of policy information and some descriptions and settings and so on like that within here for that. Then we have technology partners. Now, if for example, you are a reseller of PixelPoint, and you also sell something else as well, and you yourself have sat down and figured out, okay, here we can now integrate this with that, then you know what, you're available to kind of offer your services to all of the other resellers as well who can access this information. So for example, in here we have like Compete Restaurant, Intuit, for accounting systems, for example, biometrics, caller ID systems, and so like that. So basically, we have technology partners where these are all third-party companies for a wide variety of different applications. And you can refer to these for any of these things. So what we do here, for example, for bar, nightclub, cafeteria, fast food, fine dining, and so on like that, and on any one of these, what we have is like caller ID information, okay? So here's the Zeus phone stuff, okay? So we select on that, and this gives you an idea in terms of where this applies to, and then what you can do is take a look within our certified device list and see if we've got anything under caller ID for Zeus, which we probably will, or maybe even with Rochelle. And within any one of these, here's contact information for the given company if you wish to order any of that, and also check on our certified device list for any stuff pertaining to interfacing with this particular system through PixelPoint. Then we have calendar on here. You can have your own special calendar for this, and on this you can schedule in terms of anything that you may want to apply within here. Okay, view calendar for me specifically, or for everyone. And then from here you can see as far as what's going on for trade shows and webinars and all kinds of things like that as well. Coming down below that, we've got, well, calendar obviously, and there's the calendar right there. We've also got contacts as well. So if there's any contacts that you wish to integrate within here, then it's available to you. Polls, if there's any form of polling that we may present on here, then you can actually refer to this as well, and you can take part in any of this polling to help direct us in terms of the direction we want to take some of these different products and features and functions and so on like that. Also coming up across the top, we've got some things here as well. First of all, support ticketing. So you select on this, and actually it will take you into support tickets. Right? I'm not going to actually. Right, there we go. And from here, based on how you are, what you're set up for, as a customer or as a dealer, then you will have a username and password for getting into this to go in and create your own support tickets online. We also have a discussion forum as well. Actually, I'm totally out of the loop as far as this particular discussion forum. Let's just get back into it. There we go. But the discussion forum here will come up with a username and password, and then from here, it's basically a BBS. And what this will allow you to do is go in and collaborate with other installers and salespeople and so on from all of our dealerships around the world. And if you've got a problem on something or some kind of a question that you're not too sure about or something you want to share with everyone else, then by all means you can log in here and do this. And you can create your own threads, you can follow threads and respond to things and so on like that. Databases as well. So as far as databases go, this is just a quick reference to all the things such as customer references, certified devices, software options, and so on like that. And we've got links to each one of those to jump you to that corresponding area. PixelPoint website, if I select on this, it'll jump me out of this into the this website right here, which is pixelpointpos.com. We also have the PAR website. If you select on that, well, that will take you to partech.com. Back office news, select on that, and it will bring up all of the stuff that shows up within the news function that is within the back office, and that will bring that up on the screen as well, so you can see what it currently is on that. Search the knowledge base. We also have a knowledge base in here as well, and so within this, I'm looking on error 123, or I want to have some information on kiosk or something like that. That's all available to you within there as well. So this is all a knowledge base of support tickets and so on. Spotlight on specific things that are going on in terms of PixelPoint and activity within it as well. So EFT systems signing on what they've done with all their stuff. Kitchen display systems with QSR being added in as well, and this kind of takes you to the certified device list for that as well on this. And within all of this information here, we also have a search function up at the top. Take a look at this, and you can refer to any one of these sections. And then within here, if there's something that you want to do a search on, then you can select on that, and from there it will jump you into whatever it is, everything we have pertaining to that given word that you put in here. And so, for example, how to program a kiosk, you go into this, kiosk configuration, there's that puppy right there. And so here's a PDF document explaining how to go about setting up a kiosk, for example. And that is my PAR website. If you've never been into the my PAR website before, then what you want to do is go into, where is it here? Request an invitation. Okay, so anyone who has never been into MyPar before, but you are a legitimate dealer, you work for a dealer, you want to get into this and get some more information and so on, then select on Request an Invitation, and from here, put in the appropriate information, send that off, and they will come back to you with to your email address with a username and password to get into this. Okay, so that gives you a good idea in terms of what all that can do for you. All right, that is it, ladies and gentlemen, as far as the training for the basic PAR PixelPoint system. We've managed to squeeze all within 12 weeks, or 12 sessions, I guess I should say, 4 weeks. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up for questions. Since Leslie's not here, I'll be doing it myself. And so let me just bring up my window and make sure that I've got within here questions as well. Okay, so if there's any questions anyone has within anything that we've covered within this whole series of stuff, then by all means, please jump in and let me know. Okay, so I have one here. It says, from Michael, I didn't catch how to make button sizes, types, colors, lines of text available, and so on. Can you whip through one function button? Yes, I can. And actually, before I do that, I'm going to encourage you, actually, Michael, and everyone as well, that located on the MyPar website is actually an online course. It's free registration. You just go in, you set up for it, and so on. And what it does is a series of 17 or 18 different videos where I go into a little more in depth with regards to programming within the Form Designer program, and it allows you to get into where I get into a lot more detail in terms of doing that. But yeah, I'll just quickly show you what I've got here. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring up a typical order screen here. I'll do here order. I want to do an 800 by 600. What do I got here? Okay, here's a quick service 800 by 600. Okay, so here I am with an order screen up right now, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to I'm going to change things around a little bit. There. All right, and what I need to do here is I just need to make a little bit of space for myself. So you'll see I'm selecting on the product grid right now, and I'm going to choose, let's say, the row. Okay, I've got 5. I'm going to set that to 2, and that's pretty good. Okay, so within here, I'm now going to create a function button. Okay, so we come up to function. There's a function button right now. If I wanted to do anything in terms of how it looks and so on, all right, coming over to the right-hand side, we've got lots of different things. First of all, the button color, just the generic button by itself. You can select on this, and I can change it to a different color. Also, we've got down here image color down. Okay, so on this, for example, the normal image color, you can make it maroon, and then when I press it down, I want to make it yellow, for example. Okay, so this way, when you're on the screen, well, okay, I need to really do more with it. I haven't assigned it to anything or something like that. But when you're doing it, the image, oh, this is image, that's why as well. Image color down and image color normal. All right, also I can change the images themselves, image normal, image down, so I can make it go from a picture of a rectangle to a picture of a circle or something more interesting than that. You can do things of that nature as well. We also have the caption field as well. So in here, I can call it whatever I want to call it here this way. When you assign it a specific function, okay, so I make it something like that. It will default to that, but once again, I can always change that to whatever I want to call it. It will still perform that function, but you can do things like that. When you're coming over to things like the product grid, for example, then in the product grid, you're working with a whole bunch of buttons here, and the best thing to do is work with the PNG image list. Okay, I didn't get too deep into this because it really took up a lot of time, but within this you have a PNG image list, and the PNG image list is this thing right here. And on this, what you do is actually you assign within here what images that you want to make available. Okay, so you'll see within here I got little buttons like these, for example. Actually, I've got another one here as well. Okay, this is the one I've been using here. And so in here I've got all of these different image buttons like this. Now you want to go actually with these functions, these images in here. The reason being is that when you are loading up 30 buttons, for example, and they're all going to use the same thing, then the way the system works is that it utilizes this resource once to load this image into the database. And then any buttons that use it, let's say all of these product buttons, for example, if they're all going to use that particular image, or this one or whatever, then you aren't reloading it. You know, let's say this is 50K in size. If you were to load them individually within the button, it would be 50K, 50K, 50K. If you load it through a PNG image list, then it's basically you load it up once, and then within here it's just load up the 50K, and then these are all utilizing that one 50K once. So it's a much faster regeneration of the screen and uses considerably fewer resources as well, and it's a much faster throughput as far as operations go. So it doesn't slow down the system trying to load up all these fancy graphics and stuff like that. So that's how you go about setting up things like that. In terms of the naming of these items and so on, as you can see, they're not done within here because this is the product grid. It's actually pulling this from whatever you program within menu setup. So it will populate this at that time. You just make sure that within here, see, this is the order page grid, and as I select on these respective buttons, the contents up here will change, and it gets all this from menu setup. Okay, and I did actually cover through all this as well in terms of when you were going through Form Designer, when you are creating these different grids as well, in terms of the modifier page grid, the order page grid, and so on like that, then make sure that you actually attach them to the appropriate grids within here. So for example, I've got an order page grid, order menu grid number 1, and coming down here, I'm assigning this to product grid number 1 as well, product menu grid, okay, which kind of links those two together. So that way when I choose on a button in here, the corresponding menu items will show up within here. In terms of the images themselves that show up within this, okay, I'm just going to exit right out of this. Okay, in terms of the images themselves, they actually show up. We've actually provided you with a whole bunch of them. Okay, coming into the PixelPOS. In your PixelPOS, you will find there's an images folder in there. And you can populate all kinds of different things in here, but one thing that we have provided for you is this one called buttons. In buttons, we've got all these different types of different buttons that we've actually offered for you in here. Let's just kind of go to large icons. So this gives you an idea. There's some ACO ones, blue matte, blue rain, green ones, and funky symbol ones, and so on like that. So there's, you know, any kind of buttons you want to work with, you can use any of these things. And also with that color setting that is within Form Designer, if you like this particular button, for example, but you want it in green or purple or something like that, then you can apply this onto the template, and it will show up by default as yellow. But then when you select on that particular thing, there's actually the color field within the attributes over on the right-hand side, and you can change that to a different color. It will maintain that same image, but it will change it to a different color as well. So that's how all that works. Okay. Hopefully, I've explained what it is you were asking about on that. Okay. Do we have any more questions? All right. All right. I'm not getting any more questions. Does anyone have? Okay. I think I've got one here. In kiosk mode of payment for credit card, can you eliminate the manual input? Oh yes, absolutely. I've got things set up for manual input just because it's on the demo system and so on. But really what the system will be looking for is um, a swipe for that. And on a kiosk application, it would actually have a swipe on there. Thank you very much. All right, I think we're done. If there's any more questions, just give me a last minute shout here. All right, I think we're done, folks. All right, so on behalf of the PAR PixelPoint, PAR Canada, and PAR Technology Corporation, I wish to thank you very much for your time and attention on all of this. And hopefully I've given you enough insight into the PAR PixelPoint system that you should be able to get in there and blast on through it either as a programmer or certainly sit down and talk about it as a salesperson as well. I try to aim for the middle of the road on all of this stuff, and sometimes I get carried away, but that gives you some idea in terms of what it is. In terms of any further questions, all right, I'm going to leave this open for a couple more minutes. What you can do is put in your questions. If there is anything I can respond back to, then I will do that to you via email. But I'll only be able to leave it open for a couple more minutes to do that. And other than that, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your time and attention. And have a good day, and good luck to you. Bye-bye.